Hello my friends, this is Jeannie. Welcome back. If you are a first-time visitor, welcome and thank you. This is going to be another Create With Me video. It is going to be Halloween themed. In this video, I'm going to share with you my process from start to almost finished on making, or at least how I am going to make this particular Halloween themed fold out card. I don't know what to call it except a fold out card. Maybe accordion style card, right? What would you call this movement? Accordion style, fold out, trifold? I don't know. I will figure out a name for it by the time I post the video. But I'm making this. I'm making a card that folds out so that you can stand it up when it's done. Let me lift you up a little bit here. You can stand it up when you're done. And when you do that, across the entire front of the card is a scene. We all know I'm a big fan of building scenes. I've had this particular idea in my head for a long time, and I'm finally going to take it from my head and try to create it in real life. So let's see how that goes. This is the base panel I was kind of experimenting with, trying to figure out how big I want this card. It's going to be a bit of an unusual size. Let's start with that. And the reason that is because I wanted a size that would maximize the use of the paper products that I'm using. Okay, so before I show you how I made this base, and I made this base using 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock that I glued together, and I will show you that process because I'm going to make a second panel. Let me share with you the other supplies that I am using. I recently hauled some of the brand new Tim Holtz Halloween release. Part of that haul included the Halloween quote trips. I love these. Love these for mixed media and all other types of projects. Super excited when I got it and can't wait to play with it. So this is definitely going to be part of the project today. I'm going to use some of these Halloween quote trips. I am also going to use his brand new Halloween paper dolls. So I'm a big fan of the Tim Holtz paper dolls, and these are his Halloween themed paper dolls that he recently released. Love these. I will be using those. I also picked up his brand new abandoned 8 by 8 paper pad. Okay, now my paper pad came a little discombobulated. Look at that. It didn't come with the rubber, the gum at the top, so it's loosey-goosey. I'm okay with that because I'm, the intention is to take it apart anyway, but I just thought it was a little odd. The paper itself was not damaged, so I don't have any problems with that. I'm going to be using a couple of sheets of that, and I'm also going to be using this 6x6 denim pad by We Are Memory Keepers, and this one is called Denim Blues, and this is textured fabric paper in different colors of denim. Absolutely love it. The texture is amazing. I've had this in my stash for a little while. I haven't used it. Can't tell you why, except I just have it. So I decided that I'm going to break into this today. I'm also going to use my Distress inks, which I am now realizing I didn't pull. So I'm going to just walk away from my table for a few seconds to get that. Hold on. Okay, so I got three of my Distress ink tins, and these should have all of the colors that I can potentially need. I have my browns, my blacks, my grays, my blues, my purples, right? And some greens. Those are all good Halloween-y colors. So I have those. I will put those to the side as well. And then I'm also, I think, going to be using more of this Halloween Nights paper pad by DCWV that I used in my last Halloween process video. I really love this paper pad and I want to use more of it, so I have that on standby. I also have my paper trimmer and my scoreboard. And I almost forgot, this is key because this is really what started off for me. I have this 9-piece Martha Stewart chipboard or die cut set that I picked up from Michael's. I think it was last year at the end of Halloween season. They had one of their super sales. I went there and I picked up quite a few Halloween items, including this die cut set, which comes with 3 houses, and these are all super dimensional. If you can see that, they're very nice dimension. Also had some crows and ravens. Also had a big moon. So I think I ended up paying 49 cents for it and loved it so much. I knew that I wanted to make a larger than usual card using these items. So for me, really, this was the start of the inspiration, and this card has been in my head for over a year, so I think it's time we get it out. Okay, so those are generally the items I'm going to be using. I was kind of playing around with the different items, trying to get a general sense of the layout, and I think I have it. So now we're going to make it official and make this project. So let me put this to the side and let's start with this panel. So I wanted a larger, definitely not A2 size, right, card for the reasons I stated earlier. And I also knew that I wanted to use this 8x8 paper pad. So I wanted each panel to be at least 4.5, so that I can take one of those 8x8 pages, cut it in half, and it'll fit perfectly. Each half will fit perfectly on one panel. So that meant that I definitely wanted this to be at least 4.5 each panel, so that I'll have a 1/4 inch border on each side. Okay, in terms of the height, I decided, and I'm pretty sure, let's confirm this, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8.5. I decided to leave it at 8.5. Okay, so in my mind it made sense. 4.5 by 8.5 each panel seemed like a good ratio. Nice height, not too much, and it worked well with the paper, so that on the top and the bottom, because the paper itself would be 8 inches tall, 8.5, I would have that 1/4 inch border. So I would have a 1/4 inch border all around. I hope that makes sense and I'm not just babbling. It'll make more sense when I start cutting everything. So let me start with the paper. I am using my Lawn Fawn Black Licorice, I believe it's called. I believe it's called Black Licorice. Cardstock. This is a nice weight, probably like, I don't know, maybe an 80. It feels really nice. It's not too thick. I do want the card to be able to fold and move nicely, so I don't want it too thick. I find sometimes with the thicker cardstock, like the 110 weight, that when you fold it, the fold can crack, and I don't want that to happen here. I don't want to worry about reinforcing folds to prevent that crack. So what I did, there goes my card. What I did was I got my scoreboard, and maybe I can get it open. Got my scoreboard, and I scored at the 4.5 mark, and I have the paper on the long side, on the 11 side, and I'm going to score it at 4.5. And then I'm going to score it on the 9. So that'll make each panel, right, 4.5. And this is excess right here that I'm going to use my paper trimmer to get rid of. So I will do that right now. And that's super easy because I know the total length is 9. I'll line this up with 9, which should line up with the score mark, and then I'll just trim that. Okay, so that gives me my first 2 panels right there. Let me see. I have a bone folder here somewhere. Here it is. I organize my desk. I mess up my desk. That's the cycle. You organize, you mess up. You organize, you mess up. That's the cycle of a crafter. So here's my first 2 panels. Here are my 2 panels. I need a third because it is a 3-panel fold out. Okay, so I definitely need a third. So I will take a second piece of cardstock, and what I'm going to do is take that scoreboard again, and then I'm going to, again, on the long side, score at the 4.5, and then I'm also going to score on the 4, and actually I'm going to make it 5. I'm going to fold on the 5. All right, so I have that extra 1/2 inch right there. That extra 1/2 inch is important because that is what I'm going to use to attach this panel to the other 2 panels, right? Like if you look at this card, okay, this is the front of the card. Well, I want it to pull out this way. So this is the front of the card. The back of the card, that 3rd panel, I use that extra little lip to attach that 3rd panel. Can you see that lip, that seam right there? That's how I attach that 3rd panel. And that's okay as long as it's on the back, because I can cover that up with some paper. So I'm not too worried about how that looks right now. That's easily something that can be disguised. So again, remember the second sheet I scored at 4.5 and then at 5. So I'm going to put this off to the side. I'm done with my scoreboard for now. Might be for good for now. Let's put that to the side. Going to grab my paper trimmer. I'm going to line this up at the 5, right? Because it's 4.5 plus that extra 1/2 inch kind of hinge that we created. And this is just extra that I'm going to put to the side. I always find some use for my extra. Okay, so here is that 3rd panel. We are going to fold that little hinge, that 1/2 inch hinge, and then what we are going to do, I'm going to burnish that really, really well. Okay, so here's the 3rd panel. Here are the first 2 that we made. So now we're going to attach this these two panels to this third one using that little 1/2" hinge. We'll attach it like that with some, you can use some ATG, double-sided tape, wet glue, whatever works for you. Okay, so I am actually going to use some wet glue. I love this glue. I have tons of this mono liquid, this Tombow mono liquid multi glue. I live for this. It is quick drying glue. It dries clearly. I will say that it's a little unforgiving in that you have a split second, maybe a second, to basically push your paper into place before it's just dried and it's not moving. If you want to use something a little more forgiving that allows for a little more time, then they have the mono liquid aqua glue. Now I find this one gives you at least 3 to 4 seconds to reposition your paper. So yeah, it depends on how confident you are in your skills that day. So today I'm going to use the quick drying glue because I do want to work on this panel right away. I don't want to wait any extra time. So what I did was I lined up the edge of the 2-panel card with that score line. As you can see the score line? I hope you can see the score line. And I didn't put it over the score line because then the card won't fold over. I put it just up against that score line, abutting the score line, but still allowing for the card to move. If you push that paper too close up and even over that score line, it's going to stop this card from opening properly. So you want to, when you're joining 2 pieces of paper like this and you have a fold, you don't want to join it in a way that keeps the fold from closing or working properly. So the best way to do that is just place the edge of the paper right up against that fold, but not over the fold. Okay, so this is already dried. I love it. Love it. And the end result is okay, reinforce these folds. There is your panel. Isn't that awesome? Love that. So that's perfect. So that panel is ready. So let's continue working on this panel. The next step is to create the scene across all 3 of the panels. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to have some really nice kind of spooky, nighttime-ish, Halloween-ish backgrounds. So that's where this 8x8 paper pad comes into play. It has all of these awesome patterns. And I really love the purples. To me, that's very Halloween or nighttime. The oranges, very Halloween and nighttime. So I can definitely choose either of those. I really like this orange. Really like this orange. So maybe we'll use that. Kind of like the orange. But then again, I also like the blue. I have some blue that was in here that I already cut. I'll show you that one. But you know what? I'll show you the blue we're going to use. This is the blue that I really love with the blues and the purple. This is the blue I selected from this panel. But I'm going to show you how I went about cutting those cards. So I'm going to be making 2 cards. One in this video and the other one I'll probably make after. But this paper pad comes with 2 of each design, which is perfect because I have 3 panels. Each of these are 8 by 8. I have 3 panels. Each panel is 4.5. So if I cut one of these in half, it'll be perfect. And the height is perfect. So we're going to use these 2. Put that to the side. Let's get our paper cutter. Cut these in half. So it's 8 by 8. We're going to line it up at 4. Cut that in half. Should have 2 panels. Each one is now 4 by 8, which is perfect because my base is 4.5 by 8.5. So that's perfect. That leaves me that 1/4 inch border all around. And I'm going to cut the second sheet the same way because I need 3 of these, right? I have 3 panels. I need 3 of them. So what I'm going to do is I want the orange towards the top for sure. So this, you see how perfectly that just fits there? Can we see how perfect that is? Isn't that awesome? So that's how I use this particular 8 by 8 paper for this card. And I had previously cut some blue sheets from that same pad. And I'm going to stick with those blue sheets, but I'm going to use these to make a second card once I'm done demoing this one. So here's more paper from that paper pad. These are in blues and purples. This is what I want to use for the card I'm showing you. And essentially all you have to do to create your background is just lay these down. Okay, so I am going to get, I don't know how I ever get along without my distress ink. I love my distress ink. I am going to use black soot. Black soot. We like black soot. I'm going to use some black soot. And you know what's missing? My little dauber is missing from my black soot. How does that happen? How does that even happen? You know how it happens? You don't clean up properly. All of my mini distress inks have the little dauber pad stuffed behind it, right? You see? So that all I have to do is just pick up my tool and reach in and the dauber's there. I don't have to go crazy for it. But sometimes, for whatever reason, I have one of these runaway daubers. I don't know where it went, but that's okay because I have another black soot distress ink that came with a card kit. And this one's always on my desk. And I wouldn't be surprised if this little sponge is actually the sponge that should be in here. That happens a lot. I switch those up a lot. So it happens. Anyway, let's... you all know it happens to you too. You know, no matter how organized you are, things just get away, things get misplaced. And speaking of misplaced, my friends, what I'm doing right now is just I'm going to ink all of the edges of these 3 panels. Do you all remember that in the last video I had mentioned that I couldn't find my Little Bee precision cutter scissors, and how I thought they might be at the bottom of my Girl Scout bag, or at least I was hoping they were at the bottom of my Girl Scout bag, because I love, love, love those scissors. I took them to a Girl Scout meeting and they just never made it back home. I went through the bags and I didn't find it. And I searched my craft room up and down and I couldn't find them. So I finally relented and went on to Amazon and ordered some precision cutting scissors. Now, I really wanted the Cutter Bee ones again, but for whatever reason, they were coming up on Amazon as some kind of like limited edition type deal, and the prices they were asking for were absolutely ridiculous. There was no way I was going to pay that much for those scissors. And the one seller that I did find who had them for under $10 was out of stock. So I ended up ordering some different scissors. I ended up ordering these. I think one is a Fiskars and I forget who the other one is. And I ordered them and they came in and I opened them up and I bring them down to my craft room, find a nice little place for them. Still feeling sad. You know, it's my little Cutter Bee scissors. I really love those. But figured, oh well, you know, things happen. Move on, Jeannie. Get over it. It's just scissors. Well, that same night, I pulled out my sewing machine to do some sewing. And my bobbin ran out of ink. Not out of ink, out of thread. So I had to get a new bobbin. So I go into my sewing box. And I open the sewing box. Look what's in the sewing box. My little Cutter Bee scissors. Of course, I find them after. Oh, man. After I already spent the money on the new ones. After the new ones had already been delivered. So it's not like I can cancel the order. And of course, after I already threw out the packaging for the new ones, so it's not like I can return the ones that I already got. So now I went from having one pair of precision cutting scissors to having 3. I am super stoked though that I did find my little Cutter Bee scissors. I just wish I had found them sooner. So I just thought I would update you on that. That's, you know, that's typical of what happens to me. So I inked up each of these panels. Now I'm going to cover the back of each one with some ATG. You can use wet glue, double-sided tape, whatever you have. My ATG is here. I'm going to use my ATG. That's what I'm going to use. My goodness. I just, you know, what was really bothering me is that I don't typically lose things in my craft room. I just don't. Especially something as basic like, you know, a pair of scissors. That's not quite right. I'm trying, you know, it's not going to be perfect, but we want to be close. Goodness gracious, story of my life. Because once you press on this, you really don't want to move it. That's pretty good. So that's one. I don't lose things. They might be temporarily misplaced. Like, but at the end of the day, or at some point, they end up showing up. These, just the timing was terrible. It was, of course, after I already spent my money and got new ones, but they popped up. They showed up, right? I knew they would eventually. Maybe I should have been a little more patient, not been so quick to order. But really, it was just another excuse for me to go on to Amazon and order. And Lord knows I don't need, doesn't take a lot of convincing to get me to go on Amazon and place an order. I do that a lot. So here's our third panel. So I want to thank everyone who took the time to leave a comment in my last video. And some of you even recommended some projects that you would like to see. By far, the one item that came up more than once, actually more than twice, were embellishments, Halloween embellishments. So I definitely added that to my list, and I will be working on that for sure. Just gonna, I have an idea of what I want to do, but it's not quite, the idea is not quite complete. Okay, that's pretty good. So, Halloween embellishments will definitely be one of the videos that I do for Create With Me. I just don't know that it's going to be the next video. Like this card, I didn't plan on being my second project, but when I received the Tim Holtz products and saw the paper dolls, like this, it just completed the vision I had in my head. Do you guys do that? You have these projects stuck in your head that you kind of build up little by little, adding different elements over time, and at some point the project is complete, and then the urge to actually make it, it's just, I gotta make it, I gotta get it out. I don't know if that's just me, but I could just be weird like that. Wouldn't be, you know, unusual. Me? Weird? Of course. So here is the panel. Isn't it gorgeous? So now what I would like to do is take these die cuts and lay them out in a way where I have a house on either side, and this is what I envision: a moon in the center. I have one of these big birds over the moon because why not? That's like super creepy. I took two of the paper dolls, these two girls, super creepy. Right? Aren't they a little bit creepy? I mean, at least she is. She looks like the type that if you're riding the subway with her in the city, you don't want to be standing too close to the edge of that platform, because she just might look, boop, she just might push you onto those tracks. I don't know. So I'm just saying, okay? Don't stand too close to the edge of the platform. So I was thinking something along those lines. And then I have some chipboard sentiments that I would like to use as well. And these two little birds. So, you know me, I need to ground my images. I just can't stick this stuff on there and have it floating around like that. That doesn't work for me. So we're going to put all this to the side right now. And this is where the denim paper pad comes into place. I knew I wanted some darker colors, kind of to show a moonlit ground. So I wanted something blue. I wanted some texture. These are absolutely perfect. I wish you can feel them. They feel like textured, almost like wallpaper. It just feels so nice. So these are 6 by 6. So all I need is one of them. I can just use one of them to cut 3 pieces to make the ground for all 3 of these cards. Now I found one. This solid blue one is the one that I ended up pulling out. So when I pulled it out, and here it is, here's what's left of it. When I pulled it out, I basically cut it to 4.5 by 6, right? Because my card is 4.5 wide and I wanted it wide enough to cover the whole panel at the bottom. So 4.5, 6 was the original height of it. Okay, since I had 3 panels and it was 6 in height, I just cut each strip into I just cut 3 2-inch strips. Okay, so I ended up with these 3 strips of 2 by 4.5 paper. Okay, then what I did was, because I didn't want just a straight line going across like this. This is a panel I haven't fixed yet. I haven't cut this one. I wanted it to look more like a hill and not just a straight line going across the card. I took a pair of scissors and I just cut a little wave at the top, like a hilltop. Okay, so that when you lay it down, it perfectly covers the bottom of each panel. And you have that little kind of hill. So it doesn't look just so harsh, that harsh line. And the way I did that was I just took my 2 by 4.5 strip, took a pair of scissors, and just, you know, freehand a little hill type. See that? Super easy. Put that little scrap to the side, and it fits perfectly, just like that. So I am going to use that same mono liquid glue on the back of each of these to attach them. I mean, I could use ATG, but I don't want to risk these pulling away from the card. So we are going to use some super strong adhesive. I don't know why, guys. I mean, I am beat. Well, I actually do know why. I had a long day today. Medical appointments. Nothing crazy. Just, I'm really meticulous in making sure that I do my yearly physicals and get my flu shot and do everything I'm supposed to do. Just to make sure health-wise everything is okay. And if it's not, then whatever it is, we can catch it early. So I'm like really almost obsessive about making sure I do my yearly physical, making sure I do all my yearly appointments. The problem is, because of my work, I usually end up having to take one day and do everything on one day. That's a lot of appointments for one day, and it's physically exhausting. Especially when they're doing all these tests and they're pulling your blood, and it's a lot. But it's the only way I can get it done without taking off too many days from work. So today was that day, my friends. And it was a little tiring. And it was a little stressful, to be honest, to do all those tests. I'm not a big fan of them, but they're necessary. Which is why I ended up here in the craft room today doing this, because I needed to decompress after that craziness. And what better way to decompress than be in the craft room, right? So I hope that wasn't too much TMI. But I'm feeling a little mental fatigue now setting in. It's about 9:30 in the PM. My day started at about 5:30 a.m. The first half of the day I couldn't eat. I had to fast because of the test I was doing. So that kind of just throws your whole day off. Couldn't have my coffee. Couldn't have my breakfast. And by the time I finished with all the medical appointments, I ended up having like a really late lunch, which kind of messed up my dinner. So is what it is, but not a fun day until now when I got into my craft room. So I think that looks great. Doesn't that look good? Look, we have the little creepy house right here. We have the little creepy house right here. Okay. And this house is a little wider than my panels. So I'm going to put it on the top panel, the panel that folds like this, so that when it closes, it's the front cover. If I put it here, right, you see how wide it is, and I try to close it, it's going to keep the card from closing because the house is resting right over that, where the fold is, where the hinge is. So we're going to put the bigger, wider house over here. These are little things you got to think about, or else you put all this work and effort into your card and your card doesn't quite work the way you had envisioned it. And we'll put that one there. I think that works out. And then we have the moon. How big is this moon? And I'm going to place the moon so it's just a little bit off that background panel that we attach. I just think it just makes it looks, I don't know, a little more interesting, and it draws your eye up and you start wondering, you know, these are the little stories I tell myself, what's going on above that moon? You know, there's stars up there. Silliness, but that's what I want to do. I want it there. And then the little girl and her friend, I'm going to put in the center here. And I'm going to put them a little lower than the houses because I want them to be the center of attention. I want them to be the focal. So we'll do that. We have a little bird here. Then I have some extra little crows. And I decided she should have a little birdie friend on her head because, you know, why not? You know, maybe she likes birds. Okay. Or maybe this bird is trying to warn her to be careful about this one because she likes pushing people. You see that hand behind there? She's about ready to push her. So let's go with that. And then for the chipboard pieces, I found Haunted and Halloween. So I thought we would put Haunted, Halloween there. And then on this panel, we would put this Lost in the Darkness because she looks lost in darkness, that's for sure. We have another one of these little birds. We could put little birdie dude right there. And then I also found this Boo, which we can put right there. So that's the layout I'm thinking. Absolutely love that. So let's start sticking these down. Now the question, I'm wondering if I should put the panels on the back before I put these pieces down, because once I put these pieces down, it's going to be difficult to get the card to lay flat. And it might make it a little more challenging to put the panels on the back of the card to cover up that seam if it's not flat. So let's go ahead, let's pause on that. Let's flip the card over and let's cover the back panels here. Now, you're probably wondering, if you intend on sending this card to someone, Jeannie, where are you going to write your message if you have this whole scene in the back? My message is going to be on the back of the card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the back with 3 panels using similar process that we use to cover the front panels. And then when I know what message I want to write, I will cut yet another smaller panel and just put it right here in the center back, and that's where I will write my message. So, because I don't know who I'm sending this card to. I'm making it, but I don't have nobody to send it to. You know, I do that a lot. I make things, but I have no one to give them to. So I'm making this card. I don't have anyone to give it to yet. I'll find someone though. Here is the Halloween Night paper pad. I really liked this and still do like this paper there. So I pulled that out. Isn't that pretty? It has black with little flecks of gold. And I love the pattern. I thought it'd be a nice contrast for the back. So let's go ahead and cut this. So I need 3 panels. They need to be 8 by 4.5. So let's see. Let's cut 8. I wonder if I'm gonna need 2 sheets of this paper. I might. Okay, 4.5. No, not 4.5. I need 8 by 4. So I think this is going to be perfect. I don't want 4.5. I want 4 so that I have that quarter inch border all around. So that's perfect. If you use a 12 by 12, what you do is you cut your paper to 8 by 12, and then you make 3 cuts on the long side at 4, 4, and 4, and that's perfect. Look at that. Pretty. And you see how this covers up the seam right here where you attached that 3rd panel. This will cover it just like that. Isn't that pretty? Perfect. So I'm going to get my black distress ink again. And then, as I was saying, when I'm ready to write a message, I'll cut a smaller panel here in the center of a solid color paper where I can stamp or write my message. So I'm going to use my black distress ink. Boy, now I'm really curious where the sponge for the one that was in the tin went. Ay, ay, ay. You know when it'll pop up? It'll pop up as soon as I put a new sponge in the distress tin. The old one will pop up. Unbelievable. That's okay. So today's Tuesday, right? It's unusual for me to be in my craft room during the work week because I have to wake up tomorrow super early to go to work. I commute into the city every day. It is a 2-hour minimum commute from my home to my office. 2 hours each way. And it's 2 hours if there are no issues with the Long Island Railroad. And if you ride the Long Island Railroad on a regular basis, then you know there's always an issue with the Long Island Railroad. I have been riding the Long Island Railroad for over 20 years now, commuting into the city. And it seems to be getting progressively worse. So I usually don't craft during the work week because I do have to get up so early. But we are crafting today because I really want to get this card done. It won't, I just keep thinking about it and thinking about it. I'm not going to stop thinking about it until I get it done. Wonky. I love my ATG, but sometimes it does some wonky things. Like right there, the glue, the tape did not stick to the back of the card. Unusual. Okay. That's a little crooked, but C'est la vie. It's the back of the card. It's okay if it's a little crooked. The perfectionist in me is screaming, pull it up, do it again. But I'm working on being better about not being such a perfectionist when it comes to my crafting. So I'm going to leave it. I'll probably have nightmares about it, but I'm going to leave it. Okay, it's panel number 2. And here is panel number 3. I did select the winner of the pocket letter from my last video. And the winner was Rosa Ramirez. And she did contact me. So that was awesome. I shipped her package today. The packages for my, well, 2 of the 4 packages for my 2019 I Made It challenge. 2 of the packages went out today. Oh, that's way off. I'm still working on Jacqueline's package, who is Hand of the Queen, and on Lady J Crafty's package. She was the 4th winner that I selected. So I hope to have those out this week, and then I will be caught up on my mail. So here's the front. Isn't that beautiful? And here is the back. Nice and finished. So I love the way that looks. And then when it's open, it would stand like that. Super pretty. So let's go ahead and glue down the front. That Haunted Halloween. Little house here. Lost in the darkness. Our little subway platform pusher and her friend. Bird on the head. Moon. Bird. And Boo. That's what we're going with. So I know I want this house as high up as I can get it, but still leaving room for the sentiment. So let's glue this down. Let's commit. Let's commit. Let's see. I think we decided around there. Right? Okay. So we're going to press and hold for a few. Let's get Haunted. Halloween. I was hoping there would be more of the phrase Halloween, but there was only one, which is kind of sad because if you make a lot of Halloween projects, you'll use the word Halloween a lot, but they only gave you one. They could have, you know, given you a little more. 49 pieces, only one says Halloween. What's up with that? You know, but I guess you just make it work. It is what it is, right? So I like that. Haunted Halloween. Let's glue this second house on. I love these chipboard pieces. There were quite a few different, they don't call them chipboards. What do they call them? Die cuts. There were a few of these in the clearance last year. And I absolutely love them all. I picked them all up because projects just started popping in my head in terms of flip books and journal covers. So I picked up more than one of this die cut set. I think I picked up two. Yeah, I picked up two. This one and one other. There was also another one, which was, I think it was just witches. So I want to make something with that too. But that project is not quite finished in my head yet. I hope I don't sound crazy when I say that. My mind is my sketchbook. Okay? I keep projects stored in my head, building and building until they are done. And then I make them. So Lord help me, I have to bonk my head, because if I bonk it hard enough, all these projects are going to be gone forever. That would be sad. Put a little bird right there. Our chunky little bird. He's the reason that sign is so crooked. There we go. And then let's adhere. Let's adhere the moon first, because that's going to determine how much space I have to place my girls. So I'm going to put it as high up as I can. And this card, when it closes, it's definitely not going to lay flat because these die cuts are pretty thick. So I'm sure it's not going to close as well as it did before we glued all this stuff on it, but should still work just fine. Okay, so we are going to put It is super quiet in the house. My daughter's already in bed for school. Oh, which reminds me, did I also mention that in addition to having all of my appointments today, it was also back to school night at her school. So we had that to deal with as well. So today was very, very busy day. And my husband, I'm sure, is going to yell down the stairs any minute now that he's going to bed. I hear him moving upstairs, so don't be surprised if you hear that voice. Booming voice. He's going to bed. I want to finish my project. So I'm hoping she doesn't have too much problem sticking to the denim border here. Just occurred to me that maybe I should have used some fabric tack to adhere them. But these houses stuck no problem, so they should be okay too. A little friend. Oh my gosh, she's stuck. She's stuck. Oh yes, a little friend. Like that. Perfect. Please don't push her. Be nice to her. She has a cute little gypsy outfit. It's super cute. Let's see. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna bring her down a little bit so there's room for the bird on the head. Almost forgot about the bird on the head. There we go. Yeah, this card is definitely going to be a little chunky monkey. But I really wanted to use these pieces, so we're going to have to make it work. She needs to have a bird on her head. We are almost done with this card, my friends. And I'm loving the way it's looking. And then we have the boo. We will put the boo. How do we want the boo? I don't think we want it perfectly straight. We want a little, there we go. We'll just go with that. Don't overthink it. We'll just do it there. Going to press on that a little bit and try to close my glue at the same time. I just looked over and saw 3 pieces of chocolate. Yes, I am rewarding myself today with 6 pieces of chocolate. And it looks like, nope, I already ate 2, so I actually have 4 pieces of chocolate left here. So yes, right? Perfect night. Crafting and chocolate. These are awesome. I'll allow myself to have 6 of those a day. No more. I think we're done. And I absolutely love the way it turned out. Guys, this card feels so nice, so heavy. I'm bringing you a little closer. That is the scene. We have a haunted house on either side. It says Haunted Halloween, Lost in the Darkness. We have our 2 little creepy friends. Well, she's really creepy. Friends in the center under a big moon. And right before she pushes her, she says, boo. And we have some birds to finish off the scene. When it closes, not bad at all, actually. It closes a lot better than I thought it would. It is thick. I would have to make an envelope for this if I decide to gift it to someone. I would have to make an envelope for it because it's not standard. It is, each panel is 8 by 4.5. So, and the point of making the card, oh, let me show you the back this way. Here's the back. So if I were to write a message, I would do it here. Really nice. Happy with the way this turned out. Okay, so let me move you back now. And let's stand this card up. So I'm going to bring you down. and you can see for yourself how pretty this card will be sitting on a shelf or a mantle. It's so big. I'm sorry, I can't. Can you see it? Right there? Yeah. So that's what it looks like. Super pretty card. Very pretty card. Very happy with the way that it turned out. Turned out just as I envisioned it in my head. So that is my entire project share for this particular video, my friends. I hope that you are inspired to make your own kind of scene card using your stash. I really love the way this turned out. Super pretty. Super, super pretty. I think I'm going to make another one, but I will not repeat this here. I think we're probably at the hour mark with this particular card. One card, 1 hour seems to be my theme. One project, 1 hour. I am going to call this done. I'm going to make another card off camera, and then I'm heading to bed. So thank you so much for watching, my friends. I truly do appreciate it. I would also appreciate a thumbs up if you liked this video. Definitely leave a comment down below. I genuinely enjoy reading your comments. It may take me some time, but I do read them. Usually late at night. It's what I do before I go to bed. But I appreciate the comment. And again, if you have any other ideas or suggestions in terms of Halloween projects you would like to see me do, definitely leave them down below. I will catch you all in the next video, my friends. Until next time, bye bye.